So I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all and not pretend this is polished because we were just chopping it up off the air as one often does. And I'm like, Juba, this is good stuff. Kind of recap everybody. Where did we leave off? What were we chatting about?
Basically, as somebody who's a musician, Bennett here, who's trying to make it in Hollywood, we've had our connections and we've had our interactions with people and had our opportunities that we felt that would drastically change the trajectory of our careers. And we fell flat on our faces. And we were just talking about it now. We were just basically laughing about it. But in the moment, we were absolutely crushed. And we were talking about how you really have to be strong. And what I said previously, double down on yourself and know that you're capable, know that you're talented enough, you're driven enough to put yourself into that situation. A lot of people, are afraid of hearing the word no, are afraid of falling on their face. At least we put ourselves out there and did it. To open up a little bit on my situation, earlier in January to start 2025, I had some time off. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna make some great music, blah blah blah. Went to the new year sick as a dog, and I felt really really bad because like I had all this stuff that I wanted to do, and I'm already sick on January 1st. And now this time it's going to be used resting and recovering rather than, doing the stuff that I actually needed to do. And then I decided to put myself out there and go on a podcast and a live stream with Timbaland, one of my biggest idols. To just I have so much inspiration from Timbaland. I got absolutely cooked in front of 9,000 people. He did not like a single song that I had. I got absolutely fried. And it was humbling. It was a little bit demoralizing. I had to reevaluate myself as an artist after that, man, because I was so confident that that I had what it took to make a long-lasting impression on somebody established. I did it with Neo. I did it with a few others. I'm like, why not Timbaland? And then no, it didn't go the way I thought it would at all, and I was crushed. I cried actually later on that night. It was tough. I had to talk to my friends. They had to they had to cheer me up. That's why I mentioned develop that support system and take care of your mental health and have those people around you to take care of you. I'm glad that I had started that journey mentally because I was able to, bias aside and be real with myself with the situation and really break it down. Okay, from what he said, does this apply to you? And I looked at the situation. This yes, this no. This yes, this no. And I came out a better artist because of it. But I'm more proud of how I handled the situation, the outcome of the situation. I didn't give up. I literally immediately went into the lab and made a song and dropped it a few weeks later. Um, just because of motivation. It's how you handle these situations that determines who you are and where you'll be. And it's really important that it's okay to get down. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel upset. Just don't stay there. It's okay to feel that way. Just don't stay there.
Well, I have a very similar story, but real quick. So you said that was in January, right? So this was sort of a more recent journey.
Yes, bro. Recent.
Yeah, not as recent as mine because you can tell I'm still a little bit like I don't know if I want to say butthurt, but it was March 28th, so I'm
Yo, I'm butthurt too, bro. For a longest time, like, man, I don't care about this, man. Meanwhile, I'm still listening to his music, but I'm like, man.
so I'm sitting at America's Got Talent and I happen to get a front row seat and I had a conversation with Simon Cowell. I told him because I wasn't just making this up, like the guy that just performed, who you'll see if you happen to watch this season, they're probably going to air him. He was really good. Like he basically reminded me of Benson Boone, and I could see the look in Simon's eye that were like dollar signs. So when Simon's walking off the stage, I'm like, Simon, you found your star.
Go get
Just
him.
casually. I wasn't looking to have a conversation with him, but he started a conversation with me. And to Simon's credit, he will spend a lot of time in the audience with people. He genuinely seems to enjoy it. And someone even said to him one time, they were like, Simon, you're too nice to people. And he's like, but I like people. So he does.
Contrary to popular belief,
Well,
you know,
more recently, he's changed. Yeah, no, you're
I'm
right.
used to Simon absolutely cooking folks, bro.
Howie's the tough judge now. Or Mel B. Mel B is tough.
But sorry, that was just funny. Keep going, keep going.
It's right. If you watch the older clips, it's like
Oh
you
man.
sound like a cat being dropped off the Empire State Building.
We love you, Simon. If you ever see this, we love you.
I do. I don't have any. I'm not trying to throw shade. I was just giving him my thoughts on the music business. I basically said that I think we need to show more of artist development on social media. I think we only see the final product. I personally don't think it's enough for an artist to just sit in their car when the song is out and say, go stream my music. I want us to see the total process. I want us to see more in the studio, in the writing sessions, in their meetings. Like, I think we should be filming more of an artist's process. And so his eyes were kind of like, and then I was also talking to him about the show. I'd been to a couple tapings. I'm like, I think these are your stars this season. And he goes, huh, you're good at this. And so he's like, let me get your info. And I was like, then he brings over this.
You're impersonating. I'm trying to. You're impersonating. Keep going. Sorry, I can lock in. I'm locking in.
So he brings over this producer. I believe her name is, if I got the right one, Claire Breen. So she takes this sheet of paper. She has me write down my email and my phone number. But I was already nervous because it was on like the run of show packet. So that she's like takes a random page and it's like at the bottom. But the weird thing is that my name was already written and it was spelled correctly, which is unusual because people always misspell my name. But it says Bennett. Later in the show, Simon's leaving to go, and he shakes my hand and he says, we'll be in touch. As I was coming off of that high, I'm like, this is Hollywood. Final last words oftentimes are, we'll be in touch. I've even said to people at networking events, we'll be in touch. And then
Not do it. Yeah.
and it's not even because you don't want to talk to the person. It's because we all meet a lot of people in this business. Simon said in an interview that when he met his first mentor, he stalked them. So I didn't stalk Simon, but I stalked his entire team at Psycho. I paid for LinkedIn Premium and tried to message them, and found his assistant, found whatever, all these people, and nothing. And I was crushed. I was like, for a whole week, which doesn't sound like a while, but I basically imagine I'm waiting for background acting jobs and they weren't coming. So for a week, I felt like a complete failure. I still struggle with feeling like a failure, by the way. I don't feel magically better. I'll probably go
No,
and
me too. Trust me. I have random moments where like I'll be perfectly fine and I will have flashbacks to January. It's almost like a PTSD moment because when you care so much about something, that kind of stuff will hit you. Rejection sucks. I don't care what capacity it is. The word no is the most powerful word in the English dictionary. We don't like to hear it. I don't care what it is. We don't. One word no, for example, my no from Timbaland, my mind might not have directly thought about this, but that moment right there subconsciously triggers a rejection wound.
mm,
And that's why it hurts so dang much. And it happens to anybody. If I did get that opportunity, let's just say, like, yeah, man, I'm a follow, we gonna be in touch. I would have been on top of the world. And I know I would have used that to boost up my self-worth. But it also has the opposite effect if you're
bro.
not careful.
I've struggled so much with that, and I'm like really trying to change. And I say trying because I am a work in progress.
It's always going to be that way, man. We'll never ever be the finished project. It's a consistent journey.
We're in a time now. Well, I guess we've always been in this time. The industry is not going to come to us. We have to just show up with everything that we've got. And if it ends up so that those people who rejected us say, oh, wow, we missed out, then great. But you know what? Like, I'm to the point now where, so because of the thing with Simon, I came up with with a TV show that I'm now working on. I took that experience and it inspired something,
Let's
but I'm no
get
longer.
it.
At first, it was genuinely. At first, it was I want to make this to impress Simon. Now I'm just making it because I love it and I want it to be the best show. And frankly, if I own it, the more people take, the less we own,
Mm-hmm.
the less money we make, and that's a whole nother conversation. But the idea that it's just all about these, you know, um, powerhouses and people at the top of the food chain controlling everything. It's like, let the creators just do what they do and watch what happens, because you don't need somebody to give you a green light or tell you what to make. And all you have to do is post the right song at the right time. And the audience is the industry, as I like to say now. That's my new saying. The audience is the industry. Labels will go, oh, well, these are the three singles. But if an audience hears an entire album,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to look at a whole body of work and go, okay, well, you're telling us we should listen to this, but actually we really prefer this. They'll find the deep cuts. They'll find the unreleased stuff.
Man, there's this one guy that I met playing Valorant. I got a call on Discord, and the guy's like, "Dude, congrats on 100 monthly listeners." I didn't even know I hit 100 monthly listeners. But he knew, and I was like, "Dude, like, thank you. Like, for you to even check on that, like, that means a lot." And then he surprised me. There's a song I dropped like 4 years ago, and it was just on SoundCloud, just a random freestyle. Like, he brought that up. Like, you went digging for that. I'm like, I forgot that song existed. And like you're right, like some people like don't always just look at like the main, like some people, some people's favorite songs aren't the ones that these label execs will push. Sometimes it's some of the softer ones, some of the different one. So like what you were saying, it's cool to establish that connection and establish who you are with your audience. My cousin called me the other day and was basically we were both in the creative mindset. We're both in the creative industry. He's more in the physical art, I'm more in the audio. And he was basically telling me that it's important to not focus on the professional level of your craft and more of establishing a connection with your audience because the more people fall in love with you, it'll be authentic and people will really, really start to rock with you and push you rather than, hopping on a wave. And then once you hop off that wave or once that wave falls off, everybody else falls off with it. So once you establish who you are and they like you for you, that's half the battle.
Juba, who I have known for about 5 years now, we went to college together. Didn't finish college, but Belmont University, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
I would say I have very vivid, specific, random memories throughout my life. And I remember meeting you fall 2019, and everybody's kind of showing their thing off, like, what can we do? Can we sing? Can we play? And you sang a little bit of How Do You Sleep by Sam Smith. We were just all hanging out. Give me like a little verse and a chorus, or just a little something, something.
Oh man, dude, this is straight out the gate. I didn't even get a warm up, dog. All right, hold on. All right. How do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Baby, ah, ah, da, 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 da. Gonna keep you up tonight. Something like that. I don't know. You just put me back onto a banger.
Right? And you really filled in all those little synths or whatever they did there in that chorus. You always had that swagger, you always had that confidence. And in the best way, like very humble, very kind. You were always a joy to be around. At college, man, I was anxious. I'm not gonna lie to you, kind of depressed. Like it was not the best experience for
Understandable.
me, but you were always just like a light. So I have nothing but good memories of my time with you at Belmont.
I do want to preface, Bennett, you were an absolute pleasure to be around. You were a light yourself, despite how you might feel about your collegiate experience. I just remember all the times we would just hang out, and everything didn't have to be, really exciting or really, really grandiose. I appreciated some of the times where you and I would just hang out and talk. I want to say, like, thank you, dude, because you were also just an absolute pleasure and
Oh,
a bright light to everybody that you did encounter because you were you were able to establish a lot of these connections to keep up with people because you're a blessing yourself. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, no, Bennett's cool, and I know he's genuine, and I know it's awesome. We can both really help each other with this. Plus, I miss the dude, so that was
aw.
the reason why. It's because like I love you as a person. You're such an amazing dude.
I love you too, man. I mean that takes me back as well because I will say that I've been out here in LA for about a year and a half now, and lately, I mean, I'm starting to see what some of the stereotypes are in terms of like sometimes you do wish that everything didn't have to be so like, okay, let's meet up and create content, let's meet up and talk business. And you look
Yeah.
for those genuine connections. I wasn't actually at Belmont long enough. I kind of dipped out. Like we were there. Like we started right before COVID, and then I tried a semester during COVID, and then I was like, I can't do this. I can't do virtual school,
Literally what happened to me.
but I imagine I can't speak for anybody because I know there's a lot of people that have really great experiences at Belmont and music school in general. But even when you're a student at a music school or an entertainment kind of thing, um, it can be competitive. It can be like there's just such a hustle to it that you
Hmm.
might lose that human connection in the process. So I really genuinely try to prioritize maintaining some sort of relationships outside of the so-called business, because even if we're all trying to get to the same mountaintop, it can be very stressful on your mental health
For
to
sure.
only be focused on that.
I completely agree with you. And me, as somebody, I grew up playing lots of video games competitively. I competed a lot. I played sports. So going into college, ironically, that was kind of like my mentality because like I wanted to, stamp my name and what people could see. I wanted to be the person people could go to if they wanted this or that when it came to music. And, that quickly gets pretty lonely if you just feel yourself competing against everybody rather than trying to establish those meaningful connections with people because like I would much rather know that I'm working with somebody that has my best interest in mind rather than somebody who's just doing this for the possible transaction behind it or knowing that they're going to get something from it. And being able to know that somebody has your back or they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, it just makes the whole job so much easier and it makes yourself more willing to go in with open arms and fully give yourself. It's a whole lot less pressure to perform because they're doing it for the love of you, not for what you're providing. So like let's just say, I get an opportunity where I'm working with some big artists. Situation A is I'm just, shooting my shot and I just get an opportunity. Um, Option B is the same artist, but I'm actually connected with them. We're actually good friends. 1A would be like, oh man, if I don't do this, I might not get my shot, blah, 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 blah. This is this and that. Situation B, where this artist is my friend. I know no matter what, this person knows who I am, what I bring to the table, and what I can do. And he knows that I support him and he supports me. And it alleviates that stress and pressure off of my shoulders. And I might be able to perform better now that I know that this person actually is doing this for the love rather than just the transaction.
I mean, I mainly want to work with friends. You don't always have that luxury, but it's so
Yeah.
much of a better
Yeah.
feeling. Tell us about your musical journey and where we're at now.
When it came to music, I grew up playing piano. I was very, I'm not going to say like I was very musically gifted. My mother was a musician. My mother could sing her butt off. I grew up around choir. I did band in middle school. Every instrument that I picked up when I was younger, I was pretty good at it. I picked it up pretty quickly. It was awesome. I started off in band, and then once I got to middle school, I kid you not, there was this kid that was so annoying that I quit band and joined choir.
Wow.
And that was what kind of highlighted everything. So in middle school, I went to a performing arts. I tried out for a performing arts high school. When I started off my freshman year at a high school that I wanted to go to because my friends were there. And let's just say the people there that were put there choir wise to help me succeed were not doing so. They were actually trying to hold me back in many aspects. And I didn't realize that until I got much, much older. So my parents understanding the situation much better than I did as like a 14, I forget how old I was my freshman year, 14, 15-year-old kid. They pulled me out and put me back into the performing arts high school, Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando, Florida. And because I was at a brand new school, I felt like I had nothing to lose. So I was just able to be myself fully because nobody really knew me. And that was the key to me really developing my sense of presence and developing myself as who Juba was. And so my directors there pushed me like I don't know what. They were putting me in so many different situations to just increase my presence in regards to my vocal training and things like that. And I ended up being put in positions. There is this competition called All State that happens throughout different states do this. It's not the insurance company. That's the first question I always get asked. But it's basically a statewide test between all of band does this and chorus as well. You take a written test, you do a singing test, and then they rate you and they put you into strategic choirs based on your placements. There were two times throughout my middle school and high school career that I had beaten out hundreds of the state's best kids for a solo, and it was cool. And like I remember like saying I I was gifted music wise. And so that conditioned my mind to really think that if I wasn't able to get stuff really quickly, that I was doing something wrong. So 2019 came around, and this was the biggest year of my life, the biggest dopamine rush I think somebody could possibly have as a 17, 18-year-old. So around my junior year, I applied to this thing called the Disney Dreamers Academy, and I didn't really know what it was at the time. It was just a shot in the dark. We came back from vacation, and we got a letter in the mail saying I had gotten accepted. And my mother initially thought that it was, like, did she apply for a job at Disney or something like that? Because we totally forgot we applied, and I found out that we got in. So it was just a little workshop over spring break, and little did I know that situation, that little instance right there, would absolutely change the course of my life. It was a workshop where Disney, at the time, they were working with Steve Harvey and Essence Magazine. I believe it's under different management now. I don't think Steve Harvey's running it anymore. But at the time, it was run by Steve Harvey and Essence Magazine. They selected 100 of applicants from the country, countrywide, and there were around 12,000 that applied. And I was one of those 100 that got selected. And it took place in Orlando, Florida on Disney property. So, and I got a little lucky too, because it was on Orlando property, local news stations wanted to gather the Orlando kids and gather hometown kid support, put them in front of cameras. And this is when I really started to develop how to speak in front of cameras. I had no choice. I had to really learn how to articulate myself properly. I want to look stupid, man. Like you're in front of cameras. Everybody knows I'm there. I'm representing not only myself, my family, my school. I want to look apart. And my first interview went really, really well, to the point to where the person who was interviewing me had their camera person was going to follow us around and get footage, and they were like, you want to follow that kid over there, take care of him. And I felt, I thought it was just a really, just like, oh, they're being really sweet, like, thank you, I appreciate that. So throughout, I was just being myself, joking around, being a goofball, being a loving guy. We had these things called deep dives where they separated us into different sections, and they cultivated you with people in that specific section. So there were people in performance and like show stuff. One of my mentors was Ruth E. Carter, who is a costume designer for Black Panther. And she I believe she won an Emmy, no, an Oscar. I lied. I believe she won an Oscar for her costume design. It was absolutely amazing seeing so many different people. And so they put me in like a studio because, I'm a music guy, and my pitch was I have a nonprofit organization called One Beat Away. At the time it was called Heart to Heart, but I had to change the name. And I used my nonprofit in coalition with my music artistry as a catalyst to help grow awareness to dementia and all kinds of cool stuff. I had like really big dreams of, in the future, once I get established, I do like a nonprofit free festival where all donation proceedings would, go to a specific sort of research. I had like this whole thing, and I guess they really liked it. And so all of a sudden, Good Morning America had walked into these deep dive sessions, and they were getting a lot of, coverage. And so that same camera person uh who was like, hey, you want to look out for that person, came in, pointed them to me like, you want that kid over there. And I was like, oh shoot. I'm like, all right, cool, this is Good Morning America. And mind you, this was feeding into the mental thing that I was in, that like everything was moving and progressing so quickly that like after all of this, I just assumed, boom, just this is my moment here. So it was great, I had to they all the other kids were like in the parks and stuff like that having fun. Me and a few others actually had to do a lot of busy work because we were selected to almost like a Shark Tank pitch for our ideas and our dreams. And they even made me sing in front of everybody because they're like, okay, you want to change, the world through music, blah blah blah. We need to see if you can actually sing. And I'm like, crap. All right, here we go. And so I did, and I think that was the really deciding moment with everything. Somebody, her name was Africa. She came up to me, she's like, "Hey, I really liked your story. I loved how you articulated yourself. I loved your performance. I think you're very talented. Do you have any music, anything you can share?" And I was like, something about this woman is really, like, I feel like she's important. I'm like, I don't have it on me right now. Let me run to my hotel room. I'll be right back. So I scrambled. I sent her like everything that I had, and then I came back the next day, which is the award ceremony. Um, Now I ended up taking home the Disney Dreamer of the Year award, which was the number one out of the 12,000 applicants that had applied.
Wow.
And then they had surprised me with an all expense paid trip to Los Angeles to record a song with the singer and songwriter Neo, which was somebody that I grew up loving. And here, the dopamine, it's just stacking. It's just stacking. It's just stacking. It's just stacking. So it happens, it got to the point to where like I had produced a song for a three-time Grammy-winning artist. Granted, it's not released. I don't think it ever will. I don't know if I'm allowed to say why it didn't happen. I think it was some sort of rights dispute between the two of them, and almost like it never happened. If I didn't take any pictures, if I didn't take any videos, it's like it was wiped off the face of the planet. It was really unfortunate. I found that out like years later. Um, but that was how I really started to establish myself as a musician, as an artist, because I ended up teaching myself how to produce and to make music. But when I actually got in the studio with somebody that did it like the best of them, I was in there for it was a 24-hour day and I soaked everything up like a sponge. And for a long time, everybody's like, you kind of sound like Neo. I'm like, I wonder why. But so after that, I went to college and it continued. I got into the chorale choir as a freshman, which was really cool. I was in one of the top ranked a cappella groups. Shout out to the Belltones. You guys are still doing amazing. I love you all. Shout out to Pitchman as well. Prismatics. There's a few other a cappella groups as well. So if you guys end up seeing this, I love you all. I hope you all continue to thrive and succeed. But I was put in a lot of these situations and I just thought things were going to keep getting better and better until the pandemic hit. And then everything kind of slowed down. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And I really started to teach myself how to engineer because it was around that time where I had officially dropped out of college. And now um I look at everything. It's not like since from college and high school, from that moment, then nothing major has happened. It's just been a really slow and steady grind of developing the core pieces needed to establishing myself as an artist. So throughout the last 5 years, I haven't, I'm not out here on tour with one of my biggest idols like I thought I would. I didn't get signed. None of that stuff that I thought could potentially happen happened. And for the longest time, because I thought with that adrenaline rush that I had, I'm like, is there something I'm doing wrong? Is there something that I'm missing? And I felt myself always wanting to go back to that time of when everything was just going right. Especially now, I had just turned 24 on April 10th, and I just felt like I should be so much farther. I felt like I really needed to do so much more. There was something that I wasn't doing. I was always so tired, but caught in the middle of, I'm really tired, but if you really want this, you got to break through that fatigue. And my mental was just in just a big old kerfuffle. And that's why I want to preface it's so important that you practice self-love and patience with yourself because you are exactly where you need to be. Throughout the past 5 years, no, I wasn't selling out stadiums. I wasn't on tour. I wasn't in studios with all the best people. Ironically, I was literally isolated in my room making my own stuff. And, I still am below my goal of having, a few thousand monthly. I mean, I'm still haven't hit some of those goals, but I know it's a process. And I know that I'm miles ahead of where I was when I initially started this journey. I am now really, really solid and established as an engineer, as a songwriter, as a producer. And I might not be, physically, tangibly where a lot of these other people are, but I now have developed sort of the confidence of knowing that I have the possibility, I have the capability of getting there because I took the time to build the proper building blocks and build that proper foundation to becoming the artist I know I can be and the person that I want to become. It's been really, really difficult to go from everything going right to a screeching halt where you thought that you were right there on that door. So I thought I was going to be like, I thought Disney was going to push me to be like a Disney star. I was very well on that path until something completely out of my control stopped it and halted it. I was in cameras. I was literally living my dream. Cameras, media work, a studio with like some of my favorite albums of all time were recorded in the studio that I made that song. I literally had like an all-time favorite idol compliment my production style, my voice, and give me his email to send him tracks and stuff like that. I thought that this was my way in, and it just didn't happen. And for the longest time, I was just like, why? Like, what happened? And I was so close. And it's a journey, and you have to really appreciate the journey rather than focusing on the end goal. I like to think about it now as like, what if I just wasn't ready to maintain or handle all that stuff back then? This forced me to grow up in ways that I don't know what, man. I meet a lot of people, and a lot of people my age, or our age at least, just aren't focused on a lot of the stuff that I am. And not that that's like I'm not knocking them or anything, but for the life that I'm trying to live, I need to have a solid mental fortitude. And I didn't have that back then. There's a lot of stuff that I developed not physically, but mentally and emotionally. And I've developed support groups, and I've cultivated a family and a system that handles all of the stuff that you don't see, the stuff that takes care of your mental. And I just wanted to preach that. It might not always happen when you want it to happen, but if you keep working and just bet on yourself, just say, I know I got this, and double down. Just keep betting on yourself. Be authentic, be you, be real with yourself. If somebody says that they don't like something, or it's not hitting the way that it should, think about it. But if it doesn't align with what you are or who you are as a person, as an artist, as whatever you want to do, don't be afraid to throw that criticism out the window and just stay authentic and true to yourself. That's pretty much my, big ol' story. I thought I was going to be a lot further, and sometimes I still find myself kicking myself in the shin, like, man, what could have been? What could have been doesn't matter. That's not reality. Who knows what could have happened? What matters right now is that we're here in the present, and we're just taking small steps forward. Even if you're taking two steps forward and one step back, that's still moving one step forward in its progress.
I also think, particularly like around the same time that you said things kind of took a downhill, I was noticing that that's when we had the rise of influencers and people that were becoming stars overnight without putting the work in. And that
Hmm.
actually took a toll on my mental health because I was getting frustrated thinking, I'm doing all this hard work and I'm putting in this time and I have so much passion. And there's people that, you know, just from doing like dance
Preaching to the
moves.
choir.
Yeah. So, but now I actually think we're starting to see that isn't sustainable. And if you look at who has really made an impact, whether you're talking about the music industry or A-list actors, really anybody in entertainment, a lot of people really made it when they were in older decades. Jelly Roll is the biggest example right now.
Dude, his acceptance speech.
Any speech he gives is like,
Yes, it makes you want to run through a wall. Like, and this was part of the reason why I had such a big mental struggle because I would see this stuff, right? Social media, and I'm like, this person, like, because I'm a competitive soul at heart.
yeah, me too.
I'm like, this person has absolutely nothing on me. Like if we were to be in a studio situation, like I could produce, I could run circles around this person. But then it's part of the imposter syndrome that I developed throughout that time because I'm like, wait, but you're hating. And I'm like, you don't want to like I felt so bad for feeling this way because I was just like, man, I feel like if I had this opportunity, I would be, or like all I need is like this opportunity. And I didn't feel like some of these people deserved some of these opportunities that they were getting. And this is me being completely open, honest, and I had a huge mental, emotional overhaul over the past 5 years. And I'm still working on all of this, but these are real feelings and real emotions. And I'm trying to be as open and transparent as possible so that other people watching this might realize that, like, look, it's okay to have these selfish feelings sometimes. All the time. Your feelings are valid. I don't care what anybody says. It's okay to have these selfish feelings, these selfish thoughts. It's how you act on them that's a different story. But I really did feel like, man, I felt like I was hating, and then I felt bad because I was feeling this way because I knew that that wasn't, the genuine person that I was. I didn't know what was bringing that out of me, and it was the reason why I had to start limiting my interaction on social media because it was killing me. But it's a double-edged sword because you can't promote without social media, and it's a whole. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect your mental health. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, look, I think, like I said, because this new idea is an experiment, I mean, I have a very uh, lengthy plan that I won't go into yet as far as how I want to take over the music industry. But
You got one supporter right here. That's all I know.
hey man, I
I got
appreciate
your
you
back.
and I'm here for artists. I'm here for the art. And I think this is really just my warm-up act, but the goal is to promote the idea that talent comes first. And also, I think what you're reminding me is it's not just talent, but hard work and
Hmm.
skills. And you have the skills, and I know you. And I think that the idea of putting in the years of hustle is going to amount to bigger things than any of us can ever see. And, this is a little platform that we don't know maybe will get clicks. I mean, I too struggle with social media, but I'm going to post these clips on social media and see
You
if
never
anything
know.
happens with it. You never know. And I hate right now that record labels are just saying, well, you don't have enough followers, but I think the audience is becoming the industry, and they kind of decide because we're watching what can happen. Like Chappell Roan being the biggest example. They told her Pink Pony Club would never be a hit, and look what's happened with that. So I think that there's no telling anymore who is going to be a star because the
No,
people have the power.
they do.
And just because there's a corporation that wants to try and take over, I think that those days are slowly dwindling. And with that being said, I want to give you the chance to plug any particular piece of work, and then I want to play something of yours. I know you have a single that just came out. If you
Okay.
want to play that, or if you want to pick anything else, so this is your time to just plug anything.
So as of recently, as of 2025, I have been releasing a song just about every 2 weeks. So one just came out a few days ago. That one's called Relapse. This song is about realizing that you are in the wrong kind of spot and the conflicting messages that you might hear in regards to staying in that situation. Sometimes people struggle in maintaining the wrong relationships or staying in the wrong space for the short-term dopamine effect of feeling loved and appreciated, and or you get addicted to the highs and lows of the goods and the bads.
Mm.
And that is a real thing that the body experiences. The reason why some people find themselves in consistent, unhealthy or toxic relationships is that the body can get addicted to the extreme highs and the extreme lows, and it's literally like a drug that will affect your brain. And so you'll see in this song that the initial part is more like a cry out for help and like, look, um, there's nothing for me here anymore. I need to leave. And then you'll hear a polar opposite once because I love beat switches. And you're gonna hear one there, and it's gonna be a complete opposite effect. So it's a personal favorite of mine. I finally had the balls to release it. If you want to find all of my stuff on all streaming platforms, it's Juba, Jub. Two A's, Jubaa, because somebody stole one A. I don't know who has my last name out here stealing my stuff, but I'm gonna find you. And if you're looking for my Instagram or TikTok, it is II period Juba with two A's period II. So like Roman numeral two, Jubaa period Roman numeral two. Also, Bennett, thank you again for having me
Mm.
for this wonderful thing you've got going on. Sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for even thinking of me, considering me, and bringing me on to your show here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Love you so much.
You too, man.
I'm super stoked that I got to see you again, even though it's not in person. That will
We'll
have to
make it happen.
happen. Yeah, yeah,
We'll make it
yeah.
happen.
So listen, we're gonna play everybody out here with Relapse. Thanks for plugging the socials. Thanks for coming on the show and opening up so much. I really appreciate it. Guys, you can follow us at Who Needs Numbers on Instagram and TikTok. We don't have a lot of numbers right now, so I need numbers.
That's
I
gonna change
definitely need
though.
numbers.
you
Yeah?
you can you can start the
Yeah.
wave. You could be like, "Yo, I was here before it kicked. Actually, I kicked it off." You
Right?
you could you could be the. I know everybody has that thing, like when an artist blows up and like, yeah, I knew him before he blew up. This could be you. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the another goal of this podcast, right? Is what if some clips get some traction and we show the labels and the whole industry who's boss? I mean, that would be really cool.
It could
It's
be.
not
I'm
about me,
just.
it's about you guys. It's like I would love to kind of help some artists get a little extra steam just from like some cool interview clips because podcasts tend to do that, right? The right clips blow up. I don't know.
But in order for us to do that, we do need your help.
All right.
So, we like. So thank you, Bennett. Thank you to the viewers, whoever takes the time to watch this. And yeah, you've got a great thing going on, man.
Thank
I
you.
support you no matter what.
Thank you so much, Juba. It's great to see you.
Likewise, brother.
Stay tuned for more. And here is Relapse.
It's hard to admit, but there's nothing left here in the O. Gone too far to go back, and there's something we already know. It's hard to believe what you did to me, I gotta go. Things will never be the same, and partially we're both to blame. Love is just a silly game, no. I say I do it for the fame, for the fame, for the fame. I'm keeping my distance, but find myself calling your phone, knowing that I ain't recover, I'm injury prone. And I know this time ain't the last time, no. You know what you're doing, I'm playing right into your head. I'm finding comfort now in something I don't understand. Now I gotta make you mine, make you mine, no. Do you see me, hear me clearly? No, I won't let them take you from me, take you from me. You don't need me, but I need you. Take anything, just take it from me, take it from me. You know my highs, you know my lows. Can't criticize the life I chose. How you feel inside, nobody knows. Say you love me, say you love me, even if you don't. Taste like honey, taste like honey, be my antidote. Are you ever thinking of me? Will I ever know? So tell me what I gotta do to hear you say that I just want you for my life. Though it doesn't feel right, don't be selfish, I just want you for my life. Though it doesn't feel right, don't be selfish, won't you love me for